Frantic Nerdcast, hosted by AJ and Brock, talking about all the nerdy things that you want to hear about. Let's get into it.
Hi nerds, welcome to Frantic Nerdcast, episode 7. And
we made it.
Yes, we've made it.
Frantic Nerdcast, hosted by AJ and Brock, talking about all the nerdy things that you want to hear about. Let's get into it.
Hi nerds, welcome to Frantic Nerdcast, episode 7. And
we made it.
Yes, we've made it. And a special fun thing tonight. We have a special guest. We have Adam Hoffman.
Hey lads, how we doing?
You get some clapping. So, Mr. Hoffman, tell us a little bit about your nerdyism. What are your nerd credentials?
Comic books, mainly DC comic books was like my go-to. So I grew up on obviously DC cartoons. Everyone watched Batman, Superman, that kind of jargon. Got into comics when I was young because I was an artist, I guess. So I used to get the comic books to copy the drawings, essentially.
Nice.
A little bit of tracing?
Yeah, I'm not tracing. I'd like follow and then I'd take Superman but then put my own costume on him.
Do you still have any of that sort of stuff?
My artwork?
Yeah.
Yeah, bunch of it at home.
Oh, marvellous.
Yeah.
We'll have to break that out and have a look.
Every so often when I rearrange some of the rooms, I pull it out and I'll go, oh, look at this. And then I go through and go, oh, cool, I'll look at you in another 6 years when I clean this closet out.
It's usually the way, isn't it?
Yeah. There's
I remember this.
So yeah, started reading the comics.
Excellent.
And I was like, no, this is sick. And now I have thousands and they're just stowed away in my son's room that I don't even know if he knows they're there because they're in a filing cabinet.
Don't let him know.
I know. He's getting to that age where I'm like, you might be able to start reading them, but if you damage any of them, I will flip it. But yeah, they've been in his room for years in a filing cabinet, just there, and I don't think he's looked in there once. No idea what's in there.
Is it locked?
No.
I was going to say if it's locked, he's like if it's not locked and he knows that it's not locked, he doesn't care. So the day that you lock it, he's going to be into it.
He's going to think it's porn.
And if you've met him too, he's a little shit. He will figure it out. It'll be 3 minutes and he'll be like, oh, what's all this?
And some other people who are listening may know you from another place. What would that be?
Wrestling. I am a professional wrestler and have been for 20 years. So I run Newcastle Pro Wrestling. So you've probably seen our billboards and banners and posters around the city, and if not, shit.
I have to say, for all the listeners, if you haven't gone to see a match at all, highly recommend it. It is awesome fun to watch the guys up there doing their thing and having fun as well. I've been to a couple of the hoose parties, which are awesome fun. Go through, have a few drinks and whatnot, have a chat to some of the wrestlers after. And whereabouts do you typically go for the both the hoose parties and the regular events for Newey Pro Wrestling?
Well, the regular events are scattered around the place at the moment. Mm-hmm. We don't have a fixed location, but we do have 3 big events every year at Newcastle City Hall.
Yep.
So the big auditorium there with the wraparound mez floor. We actually have, that's in 5 weeks. So
Is that the
8th.
Rumble?
No, Rumble's in July this year.
Yep.
This one's Brawl at City Hall.
Ah, that's right.
But yeah, tickets are going good. Card looks good. Should be a stack show.
Awesome. And if people don't live in Newey, you can watch it online, can't you?
Yep, we're on, I think it's called Triller now. It was Fight TV. But yeah, they changed the name, so you can find us on there.
Very good.
Awesome. All right, well, let's get into some lovely, a little bit of a nerdy talk about some certain things. So I guess let's jump into some trailers. So we've only got one trailer this week. Monkey Man.
Yeah. This looks cool.
Yeah, it's just very unexpected for me. Did you watch this one, Hoff?
I did not.
So essentially it's Dev Patel. So the guy from Slumdog Millionaire, he was in the Emlon Shitterline Avatar, the Green Knight, all that kind of stuff. He actually wrote and directed it.
Yeah, right.
And stars in it. It's, essentially
Wrote,
it's...
direct, stars, and produced by Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
And it looks pimp.
Yeah, it's it kind of looks like he's like a nobody kind of thing. Like it's set in Pakistan, is it, or India?
I didn't pick up whether it was Pakistan or India.
Yeah.
Yeah, more or less like a kid grew up, as you said, from nothing. He's he basically some sort of like revenge plot. Something happens to his family. I can't remember his mum or his sister. Revenge sort of carries him through it, and it's all sort of based around like a old school like folklore, being the white monkey.
The white monkey is it comes in and saves villages from the evil tyrant kind of thing. And so he fights at one point, and he's like in the ring boxing and stuff, and they dress him up, and he's like got white smeared all over him with like a white monkey mask, and gets in there and starts belting the living shit out of people.
Is this low or high budget?
It looks fairly high.
It looks towards the higher end of the budget, to be honest.
I was thinking it's either got to go either way, because if it's in the middle, that could be shit. Like, but if it's high budget, good. If it's very low budget, good.
The fight scenes in the trailer look very John Wickish. Like they've looked like they're fairly long takes. Like you feel the impact when they hit and all that kind of stuff. Whether that's what the movie's like it certainly doesn't look like fucking Taken. Like those fucking, I'm going to jump over a fence and have 13 cuts to get me over the top of it, as opposed to John Wick, which is like one cut and he blows the fuck out of 10 people's heads.
Yeah.
So, it's not quite like that, but it looks really good. And it's like, Revenge Tale, then the cinematography and like the color palette and stuff look awesome. It's like that. It's like beautiful reds and stuff like that. And it just looks like it's shot really, really fucking well. But yeah, he wrote it and directed it and stars in it, which is fucking crazy. Has he done anything before?
This is his first.
It's his first one?
This is his first. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he comes across being his first that he's directed. And I suppose that's why they've put Jordan Peele at the forefront, like from a production perspective, because, hey, this is Dev Patel directing, writing, producing and whatnot. But then it's also got Jordan Peele in it, who's been pretty successful with movies and whatnot over the last few years. So I think having him almost as like a guidance for Dev to sort of give him some of the things that he's doing as well, I'm keen.
Was he in Skins? Was that Dev Patel in Skins, like in the first two seasons? Have you ever seen Skins?
No.
Oh, dude, you got to watch some fucking Skins, mate. It's some quality British TV right there.
I barely get to watch anything these days. Like I was telling you boys off air, I started to watch Echo and fell asleep first episode.
He didn't even see Matt Murdock.
Well, Skins is like, it's like really true life teenagers. Yeah, it was him in Skins. I thought so. And it's like just a brutal fucking show, man. Like you get to know these characters, and then one of them just fucking dies.
Yeah, right. Good.
And you're just like, what the fuck? And then they do 2 seasons with characters, and then season 3 and 4 are completely different characters. The only one that carries over is one of the main characters' sisters, Nick, the one that was in Fury Road. The Chroma that was in Fury Road, isn't that the Menu movie? He was in Warm Bodies.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, The Menu. Nick, is his name Nick?
We did this exact same thing a few weeks ago with the same guy.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah, that dude. Yeah, he was like one of the main characters in it. I don't think anyone else has really gotten huge from that. But no, it's a fucking awesome show. If you haven't watched it, I reckon get on that one, mate.
Is it Lex Luthor, the guy? Is that who it is? Out of Warm Bodies? Is that who you're talking about? Nick?
Is he the new Lex Luthor? You talking?
So, yeah.
Yeah. He's playing the new Lex Luthor in Guns, Superman. Fucking what's the new Superman called?
The
New Adventures of Superman. Is that what he's calling it?
No, that's the cartoon. I actually finished watching that. That's actually really good. I got through that one. No, it's the new movie. I can't remember what it's called, but it's...
Put your mouth on the microphone. We can't hear.
Mate. Trying.
On the note of that and the DC world, I actually seen that we now have a Supergirl, being Millie Alcock. So that got announced in the last couple of days as well.
Who's Millie Alcock?
Millie Alcock. People will predominantly know her from House of the Dragon. She's the main in...
Oh, I heard a rumour it was between her and someone else, but it is her?
Apparently got announced in the last day or so.
Is that the younger one or the older one? Is that the main character that's like she's young for the first 2 episodes and then old for the rest of the show?
Yep.
Is it the old one or the young one?
The older one.
The older one.
The older one. And I mean, I'm keen for that because she is an Aussie actress.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I saw a photo of it. She definitely fits the part.
Oh, 100%.
Did you like the Supergirl out of The Flash?
That's a no.
She didn't do anything.
I mean, the movie was fucking atrocious. Let's just get that out there. But I actually really like the look of it, the costume, the hair, the attitude.
The actual look of it, I was like, yeah, that is very cool. But the fact that when she was on screens, like, she didn't really do or say or emote or do anything. She was just kind of staring angrily the whole time. I was like, okay, it's an interesting take.
I mean, my live action Supergirl's always going to be Laura Vandervoot from Smallville, because, you know, she was only in like 5 episodes of Smallville, but mate, she won. She won for me. It's Tom Welling's my Superman as well.
Yes. Well, as we said the other week, he's your Smallville.
Yeah, he's my Smallville because he was never officially Superman, legal reasons.
Yeah.
And you know, Bruce Wayne was in an episode of Smallville as well.
They changed him to Adam Knight.
Yeah.
No, trust me, I'm all over Smallville. Like,
Yeah, because
that for hours.
Because it was like, there was so many legal things with DC that they weren't allowed to call any of them the actual DC superhero names.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if this is true, but I heard the reason why they weren't able to do any kind of Batman TV shows like that, have him in Smallville, or why Arrow became Arrow instead of just being Batman, even though it was Batman with Arrow, is because Fox owned the TV rights from Adam West for Batman, and then Disney bought Fox, and then Disney was like, fuck you.
Well, there you go.
That makes a lot of sense, because that's how most of those things go,
Yeah, so the whole time was like Fox holding out, and then Disney got hold of it and went, well, we're definitely not getting them back. We're never having a TV Batman.
That's under lock and vault.
That sounds right, because Gotham was the same thing. He was never actually allowed to be called Batman, and like Joker wasn't allowed to be called Joker, Harley Quinn wasn't allowed to be Harley Quinn, all that kind of stuff. They're only allowed to use the real life names, not the superhero names.
Yeah. They did a good take on that, though. Like,
I liked Gotham.
The nicknames with Penguin, where I don't like being called Penguin. You're a fucking Penguin.
Yeah. No, Gotham was good. I mean, it got towards the, I think it was the last season, they did the whole No Man's Land thing, and like all the baddies started taking over. And although the whole Joker thing, where there was like 3 different Jokers, and it was all the same actor.
Yeah, Cameron.
Yeah. And it was good. I enjoyed it. I mean, the worst character of the show was Bruce Wayne.
Oh, that's so unfortunate that it was too, isn't it?
Yeah. It was really disappointing that he was the worst part of it. Like, Alfred was fucking awesome.
Especially when they started to bring him into it more. Like, at first you sort of seen him on screen, you're like, look, it's not about him anyways. It's about everything else that's going on in Gotham.
It's about Gotham.
Sweet. Exactly. So that was pretty sweet. But when they started to focus in on him, you're just like, we'd prefer if you didn't.
100%.
It was enjoyable. All right, we've severely gotten off the topic of Monkey Man. So Monkey Man, the trailer looks good.
Yep.
So I guess
have a watch if you haven't.
Yeah.
Check it out. Looks awesome. Looks like it is coming out on the 5th of April, so not too far away at all.
Awesome. All right, well, let's just go to... Let's go here.
TV shows.
So TV shows. So we'll talk about Echo in a second, but I just wanted to talk about another thing I watched, which was the DC Animated Universe. I'm guessing you've watched a lot of these.
Correct.
Have you watched a lot of these, Brock?
Oh, bits and pieces.
So essentially they did, you had like your old school DC TV universe, which was like Batman, the animated series, the New Adventures of Superman, Justice League United, Batman Beyond, Static Shock, and I think there was another one. It was like Project Beta, yeah, and there was one more, I think, I can't remember. But essentially it was that universe, which then had the best Batman movie, in my opinion, ever, The Mask of Phantasm.
Brilliant movie.
Which was a phenomenal movie. And they had a Batgirl one as well, where it was like, there was like 3 Batgirls, but it weren't really Batgirls. They were on like Green Goblin style gliders and shit, which it wasn't as good. But so they had that universe, and then after that, they did like a little reboot of it, and they had a universe where it was like, I think it was like 11. It was when New 52 came out. They did a universe start of that where it was like all the movies connected to each other. And it was like a big saga, and it started with the Justice League forming with Darkseid coming, Darkseid, whatever his name is. I always say Seed. Always. He caught me out the other day about it.
Oh, listen.
It starts with him doing that, and then it went through to what was the Dark Justice League, and like then Flash had to go back, and like he Flash erases time.
Yep, sure.
And then there was a little in between one, which was Constantine getting stuck in the House of Madness.
Yep.
But you watched it, and it was like the animation from the first one, and then it went to when he got stuck through, and him and Spectre were having an argument in space and stuff. It went to the new animation, and going through, and he's in the new universe, which is just finishing. The reason I'm getting to it because the Crisis on Infinite Earths for part 1 just came out, and I watched it. Have you watched it?
I haven't watched it. I seen it came out, and I was holding off.
Have you watched it yet?
Not yet.
Oh, it's good because it's the new movies. There's 10 movies in the new saga. Yep. I can't remember what a lot of them are, but it ends with the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and it was good. Yeah, right. It was really good. I won't spoil anything. I mean, we've all read the comic anyway.
We'll definitely talk about it.
And you've seen the Arrowverse version of it as well, which the Arrowverse version. But no, it was thoroughly enjoyable, and I recommend everyone get on it. It's 3 parts though.
Yep.
No, the second one's coming out this year, but there's no date for the third one yet, which is a bit fucking annoying. But yeah, I reckon watch all those OG ones. They're really good.
Yeah. I'd have to think back to which ones I haven't watched, to be quite honest.
Because I think the Long Halloween is a part of the new 10 ones. Hush was a part of the old ones. The Dark Knight Returns was its own little pocket thing, because there were a few of them where they had their own little individual universes. Like there was one called Doom, and another one.
Yeah, the Doom that came to Gotham or something like that.
Yeah. No, there was one just called Doom.
Oh, okay.
As well. I've got a heap of them on Blu-ray. They're just great. Like they are some good superhero movies, man.
100%.
They are fantastic. Like I would rather watch them over most fucking Marvel and DC movies, in all honesty.
Yeah, Under the Red Hood.
Oh, that was good.
That was sick, yeah.
I still remember reading the comic of that and just being like, damn, that's good. And then the movie came, I was like, yep, that's well done.
Yeah, it's the most frustrating thing as like a huge DC fan, watching these animated movies and how easily they nail it.
Yeah.
And then watching their live action movies going, how did you shit the bed on that?
How did you fuck it up?
I was about to say the same.
Ego, money, what?
They've already written the fucking stories for you. Just...
And then the cast they get for the animated ones is fucking mental. Like Nathan Fillion's in nearly every single one of them, playing different characters. Jensen Ackles, Jared Padalecki, like most of the Supernatural cast. Just fucking shitloads of these famous actors doing all the voice roles for them. It's mental. And then, they go and fuck the live action, especially DC, to go and fuck the live action ones.
Yeah, like they haven't worked that out yet.
Like
they really haven't.
Green Lantern's my all-time favourite.
Yeah. Well, what, the movie?
Yeah. Like watching all that lead up, like with Marvel, when people like you see Marvel fans whinge about like, oh, they changed this, they shouldn't have done this, and I'm like, shut up, like just enjoy the movies. And then Green Lantern came out, and I turned into one of those guys like within the first 2 minutes. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Taking 2 favourite like villains, merging them together, and coming up with a smoke monster piece of shit.
Oh, that was just bad. That smoke monster and that thing was just fucking horrible. And I mean, the costume, I didn't have as big a problem with the costume at the time.
I liked the costume.
At the time, I thought, it looks fucking pretty cool. That's what it would look like in real life. Well, real life kind of thing. But now you look back at it and you're like, yeah, that's pretty fucking bad. The
mask was the only thing that gave me the shits. Like, nitpicking, I wanted him to have white gloves because he has white gloves in the comics with the big green ring on it. But then the mask just looked like putty on his face. Like it's not hiding anything. Where in the comics, it's a physical, sharp, clean mask that covers his face. So it would hide his identity. And then they had his nose out, so he had like a little domino mask. I was like, no, cover half his fucking face. I understand Ryan Reynolds is a pretty man, but he's supposed to be hiding that he's a pretty man underneath the fucking mask. Put the mask on. Yeah, no, I do agree with that. I mean, they've nailed him in the comics, in the animated series and stuff like that as well, which is really good. I want to see the Penelope Cruz. Is that a name? Jessica Cruz. Penelope Cruz is the actress. But yeah, I really like her in the comics. She's fantastic. I'd like to see her in one of the animated series or the movies or something. Simon Baz, I'm not sure if he's been in a animated, but he'd be a good character too. Which one's he? He's the Arabic lantern that comes before Jessica Cruz. Oh, so he has, I've never seen him in anything. He has like the kick-ass style full.
Oh yeah,
full
yes,
hood
yes,
with the
yes.
lines through
I
it.
have seen him. Is he in the one with Jessica Cruz? Because
I think they
there's
did
two
do a
lanterns.
crossover, yeah, but I have the comics where he first comes in, where it's just him, but then I kind of fell off after that.
Because
Jessica Cruz
I think
came
Jessica
in.
Cruz her main series is the Lantern Corps
Yeah,
comic. I think from memory in New 52 era. Was it New 52 or Rebirth?
it would have been after Rebirth.
Yeah.
Because I have all the Rebirths, and she came in after I pretty much stopped collecting.
Oh, okay, yeah, it must have been Rebirth then. Because they're doing another. I think they're doing another reboot now.
Yeah.
From memory.
Every 10 years they do.
Yeah.
So.
Have you read any of the DC Eased or the Heavy Metals
No, I've watched videos where they kind of tell you the story.
of Heavy Metal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the same thing with that because there's just so many fucking of them, and God, it's good.
Yeah. No, it looks sick. Yeah.
And I ended up reading like the main art. Ended up reading most of the sort of backgrounds of the evil Batman, and then the main arc. I didn't read all the because there's like so many offshoots and here and there and stuff.
Yeah, when I collected comics, I didn't collect Batman comics because of there was 11 titles at one point.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they were clever because they would have like in this Batman, you like the next issue we like follow this in
Yeah.
Batman and
Yeah.
Robin,
yeah.
and then to follow that you had to get Nightwing, and then to get
Yeah.
that you're back to a different Batman. It's
Marketing,
fun.
baby.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's very smart but very annoying.
No, I love DC East. If you haven't read it, like get a copy of that and have a read of it. It was fucking fantastic. It's essentially when I think we talked about it in like
Yeah,
the
we did
first
talk
or
about
second
it.
episode. Essentially, it's
I went and had a read of it. It is pretty bloody good.
When Darkseid comes in that, it's like first big battle they have in the city. I think it's the Metropolis, isn't it, or wherever it is. Essentially, they capture Cyborg and take him back to the planet and discover he's got the anti-life equation in him, and they activate it. And so when he gets sent back to Earth, as soon as he connects to the Wi-Fi, it just spreads the virus and everyone turns into zombies.
Yeah.
And it's fucking awesome, man. Like watching like Superman just be a fucking zombie and his arms are fucking ripped off and shit, and Plastic Man's a zombie. And like at one point they walk into this building where like Lex and all the baddies are hanging out, and it like looks like it's surrounded by fucking lava and shit. And one of the superheroes goes to jump over the top of it, and as they jump over it, the fucking lava just all moves. It's actually Plastic Man just floating as liquid, like zombified Plastic Man, jumps up and fucking just grabs her and rips her apart. I think it was like Black Canary or something, just rips her apart.
It was really cool how Superman became a zombie too, actually. That was pretty pimp. But we won't tell you that because you can read that yourself.
Yeah. It's and the ending, because it's three trade backs, and then there's like a fourth one which is like a side story that you don't really need to read, but the ending is super fucking satisfying too. Like you read it and you're like, nice work, guys. Nice work. Yeah, you nailed that. You nailed it. All right, Echo. Let's read some. Let's talk about some Echo and ruin it for Hoff here, who fell asleep watching it. So this is Hoff's spoiler warning for him, just so you can hear that.
I think I've had most of it spoiled for me anyway. So.
Yeah, fair enough. So a little bit of some just quick little echoey backstories from the comic books.
Well, I was going to say, before we get into Echo and her backstory, why don't we talk about the fact this is the first Marvel Spotlight series?
Yeah,
that they've actually introduced.
Fucking blood.
So basically, this is the first one. As you open it up, you would have seen as they introduced it, it came up with a big thing saying Marvel Spotlight rather than their typical introduction going through the Marvel logo just jumping out at you and whatnot. It seems like, from what I can read, is that the intention behind the Marvel Spotlight is putting a spotlight on a character or a little story arc that's meant to be kind of disconnected from the main story of the MCU, so that they can more or less, so they can more or less have whatever they want having off on the side, and it doesn't necessarily have an impact on the MCU.
Doesn't affect, and they don't have to sort of comment on the bigger picture stuff that's happening.
Exactly. So they can,
like the fucking multiverse.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Exactly. So they can. I think it's a really cool concept. It allows them to sort of just say, "Here's an idea. Let's throw it out, see if it sticks or not. Have some fun with it." I mean, it seems like a pretty good idea.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. It's cool for me, and I like that it was 5 episodes. I like that we got it all at once.
Yep.
And I like that there was blood.
Yes.
That was
very
fantastic, yeah. So essentially, I think we've said this many times before while I was talking about the trailer and stuff, but Echo, essentially, she's deaf.
Missing a leg.
Or
up to her knee, sorry.
She, Kingpin gets her and sort of adopts her, trains her to kill Daredevil, but in her personal life, she ends up falling in love with Matt Murdock, not knowing that he's Daredevil. She finds out, she's betrayed, they fight, then they end up going, you know what, fuck this, let's just team up, Kingpin's a cunt, and we'll beat up Kingpin. They beat up Kingpin. And then from that point on, she kind of is an anti-hero, and she's in the Avengers, but she doesn't feel like she belongs in the Avengers because she's, you know, a killer, an assassin and stuff. And she goes through, at one point, she's Ronin as well in the comics. Then she continues to sort of go through all the different teams. She's in the Secret Identities Crisis saga thing with the Skrulls take over, and she ends up in what's the place with all the dinosaurs called in Marvel? The X-Men go there quite often. Savage Land. She ends up in the Savage Land a couple of times, et cetera, et cetera. And then most recently, she was actually in a contest to see who was going to be the wielder of the Phoenix Force.
Well, there you go.
And she lost, but then somehow didn't lose and came back and kept fighting and ended up winning. And she is now the host of the Phoenix Force, and she's also taken over the mantle of Thunderbird, which I don't know if you've ever seen some of the comics. He was like had like the red shoulder pads and like the eyepiece, and like very very stereotypical Native American look in the comics. Yeah, she's the new Thunderbird. Yeah, you know, 80s art. Yeah. So that's kind of where she is now, and the movie version, the show version of her is fairly different.
Very different.
Yeah, we got a little, I think it was meant to be a little teaser of her face makeup, because in the comics she has like a white handprint over her face. I don't know whether it's like a heritage thing or something like that, like a Native American thing or something like that, but it's...
Yeah, I made the assumption that it was, but they did actually carry through the piece from her uniform as well, from the comics through to the show, which I thought was pretty cool, just like the sort of the sun arc type thing. You know, pretty much everything that she wore, like the jacket, the shirts and whatnot. I thought that was pretty cool and pretty well done.
But I think there was a scene, I think it was when she was a kid, when she's in the first episode, and the mum, they get hit by the car, and like, I think the mum touches, there was the scene where someone touches her and she gets a bloody handprint on her. I think that was meant to be a homage. But the first episode, essentially, as Hoff knows from the 5 minutes of the episode he watched before he fell asleep, was pretty much just... it was about the first half of the episode was a recap of Hawkeye.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kind of gives her heritage. It starts off with the weird tree people.
Oh, yeah. Her ancestors.
Yeah, which you don't really know what's happening kind of thing. It's like a bunch of tree people, and they start to crack, and then they become real people.
And then there's not on them.
Yeah. So you can make assumptions, but it's very vague.
Yeah, you eventually learn that that's her lineage. That like the line is her lineage, and that's the first of her lineage. And then you get the heritage of, you know, Ronan killing the dad, you know, finding out it's Kingpin shooting him, et cetera, et cetera. Then it cuts to her on the run. She goes back to her house, but then also it sort of cuts between the first time she actually starts to work for Kingpin, and like it's the first time she rocks up and there's two dudes in a suit, and she's like, I don't know, she's super nervous and trying to communicate with them, and they're like holding the phone up, doing the fucking phone thing in her face and shit, and they're like, they end up going in this back room, and it's like, Kingpin wants to say thank you, and then he pulls a gun out and just fucking starts shooting people in this room, and then they just turn to an all-in brawl with these three people, and she's like back and like doesn't know what to do, and then she's like, you know, fuck it, and just jumps in there and just starts beating the living shit out of people.
So if you had have stayed awake for literally about another 22 seconds, you would have seen an absolutely fantastic scene.
And then Daredevil pops up, and he's like, I've been waiting for ages to do this, and he gets in and starts belting the shit out of people as well, and they had this fantastic fight.
The whole scene is so brilliantly done.
It's like they kind of did it like a oneery, like homage to like Daredevil series and stuff like that. And yeah, it was a beautiful fight. And then like Kingpin's like, none of my men have been able to take him on like that. And then that's when Kingpin accepts to like train her and like be, you know, the good thing. And then I think and then it kind of cuts back to
cuts back to where she is in the town that she's in now,
Dakota or whatever it is,
Colorado, I think it was, but either way, and sort of carries along. It starts to introduce you to a few more of the people that she's obviously
the funny sidekick. Because there's always got to be one.
Biscuit or something.
Yeah, Biscuit. That's it. The funny sidekick. And he brings the comedy into it. But that's pretty much first episode. It was pretty good. Like you were saying before, we started like the recap part of it was pretty boring.
Yep.
But I do like that they've done that because they're kind of assuming they finally accepted that most people don't watch fucking everything Marvel.
Yeah.
So they're giving a recap for those people who haven't watched all the other shit for Marvel have done.
Yeah, I think I would have just liked it spaced out a bit. Like have her do something cool and then do some recap.
Or even if they did it as like here's a episode 0.
That's what I was actually going to say. Like this could have very easily been 6 episodes, and as you said, like an episode 0 or whatever happened previous leading up to here, and like just do that sort of thing, and then sort of pick up and run with it. I reckon they could have done that.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't.
But, in fact, they didn't. But there you go. Episode 2 essentially it had like this really awesome train scene in it. So essentially, there's a train because one of the guys that she goes to see in this town that they live in, he used to work for Kingpin, and he tried to quit, and Kingpin's like, "No, motherfucker."
So more or less from like a time setting perspective, this is around 6 months after the Hawkeye thing. Yeah. So basically 6 months after she's shot Kingpin in the head. So she still thinks Kingpin's
dead. And so she wants to become the new Queenpin.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
And so there's a train that's heading to like full of all Kingpin's guns and shit. So she gets Biscuit to help her, and she like jumps onto the train. Like she does this cool thing where she's like just standing there and just goes fucking whoop and just jumps off this bridge and just lands on this train. Then she's running along the top of the train, and like it goes in and out of like her not hearing anything, and then you hear and stuff, and which they did really well throughout the show.
I was going to say, like, they did that fantastic. Like through the whole show, it was done really, really well. I actually would have liked more of it.
Yeah.
Like, because I found that it gets you straight in, like, with the suspense of whatever's happening, but then it sort of trails off the suspense and takes you straight into whatever her suspense was for. But I reckon they could have held that for longer just to keep that build of suspense and then, I don't know, carry it through a little bit, so to speak.
And then essentially she breaks into one of the containers in the train. Like, she cuts through the bottom of it and climbs in and stuff. And it doesn't show you what she does. And you think she's stolen something. That's how they've kind of played it off, like she's stolen something. And then she gets off and she has to jump off and like jumps off and jumps into the back of the car. Biscuit nearly crashes into a thing and it's like fucks up the car, but it's the grandma's car. So that's how the grandma eventually finds out what's happened.
Pretty much
goes back.
The next scene, watches the grandma's in at the store and watches the car go past. He's got his hand up next to his face. Just
the fucking bumpers dragging behind and shit. And you eventually find out at the end of the episode, the train rocks up at this big depot in New York, and they go to open one of the crates, and they open it. It's just got a fucking bomb in it. It just blows up the entire building, and only 2 people survive out of it. One of the dudes is his actor in Limitless with Bradley Cooper, the one where he takes the drug and gets smart. Yeah, that gangster guy who takes it and sort of gets smarter and tries to kill him, and he ends up killing him and sucking his blood and getting smart in Limitless. It's that dude. So that's pretty much most of what happens in episode 2. A little bit of like, oh my God, she's home. That kind of stuff. Episode 3, it's kind of where the story, like the beginning, each episode has like a beginning story. So the first one had all of the tree people. Then the second one had a different female. And the third one, I think was my favorite. It's like a sort of cowboy, I hate to say it, cowboy and Indian, but it's that sort of era. And it's like the girl, she's training, she's like gunshot, and the dad's like, you're not allowed to shoot people. Like, you're not allowed to shoot because you're a girl.
He was okay with her shooting, but then he had to go.
Yeah,
because something happened, so he had to go, and then like a sheriff or whatever for the
like a Indian Native American law enforcers. They sort of go around and protect their lands, and they go and they find these bandits, and they start having a shootout, and they start losing, and she just rocks up on the fucking hill with the guns. It's fucking just fucking murders everyone. And they're like, yeah, okay, cool, you're allowed to be here now. So I think that was my favourite intro one. And then episode 3 is pretty much the dude that was at the warehouse that got blown up. He comes into her hood and pretty much captures her in a roller skating rink and
the best friend, the cousin.
Yeah, starts torturing her and her cousin, who used to be best friends and stuff. And then she just goes, she's like chained up with her feet, but then her foot comes off, which makes her fall down. And then she just starts fucking people up left, right, and centre.
Some like one leg gimmicks.
That's really the only one.
That's a shame.
Oh, the probably one other one is when she jumps off the train.
Her foot gets stuck in between the carriage links and it like crushes her foot. So the grandpa, grandpa has to build
step grandfather.
Yeah, he has to build like a new leg for her.
Yeah, so there's like a little bit around that, which was funny.
I was expecting to have like a shotgun in it, like the penguin. Or have
She's got a blade. She's got a blade in her foot. But yeah, so there's a fucking awesome fight there, and then she's almost about to get captured, and then the main dude gets a phone call, and his face goes from like, I'm going to fucking kill you. Oh, fuck. And he goes, let's go, guys.
Yep.
And they just all walk out and leave her, and then kind of cuts to her sort of riding back to her house on a motorbike, and she gets off, and fucking Kingpin just fucking rocks up, and he's got the eye patch on, and you expect, oh, shit's about to go down. But no, he's just there. He's like, I understand why you did it. Let's have dinner. I've brought wine. Gives a little eyepiece so that they can communicate. So when he talks, she sees the sign language, like this digital sign language and stuff.
I did hear that.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool. I like that. So they talk, and that was pretty much episode 3.
That was actually really good. I liked that scene between them as they were just walking around the house and whatnot, like whatever the steak was. But then she pours the wine down the drain. He goes, you could have kept some of the wine.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with it.
she's like, I'll open the wine and gets it, pours it down, then gets 2 Pepsis and puts them on the table.
It's got that little like, okay.
And he's pretty much, he's like, I understand why you did it. If you want my empire, you can have it. Come back to New York with me. And that's essentially sort of that. And then episode 4, she says no. And then he's like, look, think about it and then come to me. So she ends up going to his hotel, and then there's this fantastic fucking scene where she's got the gun, I think it was a knife or a gun, and she's like ready to kill him. And then he starts going on this little sort of diatribe about how he murdered his father, and then he pulls out a box and he's like, open it. She opens it. It's a fucking ball hammer.
Yeah, that's right.
He's like, that's what I fucking killed my dad with. And like, it's just this beautiful, like Vincent
Dion Fario. Don Fario.
He's
Dion Fario. Yeah, Don Fario.
Fucking amazing, man.
Dion Fario.
He's such a good actor. He's phenomenal in this show, man. Just when he like gets like that anger and that emotion in him, it's just phenomenal. Like he's by far the best part of the show, the best part of Daredevil, in my opinion. Yep. He's great.
Yeah, when I heard he was going to be in Hawkeye, I was like, that's the fucking best thing they could have done.
Yeah, 100%.
If they're going to start cherry picking from the Netflix series, but this is before they made them canon or not canon or whatever they are.
No, they're canon now. They're officially canon, all of them.
Yep. Are they spotlights or are they?
Well, that's the thing. Like,
I don't know. All they've announced is they're officially canon, and that Bullseye is going to appear in Daredevil.
I did hear that.
Born Again. Which is good because he was really good. I liked him in Daredevil 3.
Definitely.
He was it 2 or 3? He was in
season 3.
3. Yeah, he was the best part of that season by far. And apparently, Deborah, whatever her name is, the ginger chick from Daredevil, she's going to appear in Born Again, but she's only in it like a tiny bit.
Yeah, okay.
That's the other sort of thing I heard about that.
Has anyone heard anything about Iron Fist? I
haven't heard a thing. I don't think they're going. If they are, replace him.
Look, even if I heard something, I think I'd ignore it. To be honest,
can they just teach him to fight from now until when he's needed?
In fairness,
I should have started a while ago.
The second season was better than the first.
Well, I heard he got no lead-in time into the first season, but then I was like,
really?
Logically, if he's the world's best fighter, why are there fight scenes? He should be showing up and going, block punch, you're dead.
Yeah.
Move on. They shouldn't be like, I'm going to fight this security guard who works his 9 to 5. Like, he's not a fucking trained fighter.
Yeah.
Even if he's a boxer, it made no sense that this world-class martial artist is going toe-to-toe with this guy. He should have just been like, kick your leg, hit your throat, let's move on. Like, they should have been playing that up as like, he's the world's best fighter. We haven't trained this guy how to fight. Let's not make him fight by making him better at fighting. If that makes sense.
Yes, that does make sense.
It's like, how does, like, these guys are in charge of, like, nearly $1 billion industry, and how do they not think of this?
They weren't. That was because that was Netflix.
Oh, it's Netflix. Well, even then, they're not poor. They've got some people. Yeah, it's like, how does no one come up with?
And
this,
they know how to make good shows because Daredevil 1 was phenomenal. Daredevil, all the Daredevils were great.
Jessica Jones.
Season 1 was David Tennant made so that good show, man. He was so fucking good in that. Like, the first Luke Cage. Oh.
Yeah, like going back to David Tennant, like on paper, if you tell me this is what his special power is, I'm like, oh, that's pretty shit. And then you see it in live, like, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
He did it so fucking well.
I tried to think of actors that could do like that role as well as he did it, and I just can't, like, because he was just so fucking creepy in it.
Yeah.
And just it was just phenomenal, man. He did such a good job, and it's sad that they killed him off.
Yeah,
even though he was like killed off though, bringing him back as they did through the like Jessica Jones's like flashes and whatnot, and what she sees. And
was he hallucination in season 2?
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah, definitely. I think in season 3 as well. From memory.
Was there a third season of Jessica Jones?
I'm trying to remember. I thought there was 3.
I thought Daredevil's the only one that got 3 seasons.
Yeah, I thought they went 2 and then Defenders.
Sorry, you could be right. Yeah, it might have been in Defenders I'm thinking of. But either way, yeah, I'm sure that she was getting flashbacks quite a bit.
Yeah,
because in the comic, she just breaks his jaw, which is perfect because he can't speak.
Because it's only speaking in the comics, whereas in this it was like a microbe that he breathed out or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, still kind of tied to him.
Yeah. So Echo. So the beautiful scene. Then Echo decides, you know what, fuck you, I'm not coming back with you. So he gets the shits, and he's like, fuck this, I'm gonna take over your family. And it's a great scene at the end of it where the grandma works at a post office, and she's at work and she's in there, and then she drops some mail, and you see like the white pants behind her, and you're like, oh fucking that's Kingpin. And she turns around and he's like, oh, here you go, and he's like super nice, and then she's like, oh, you know, my grandma, I learnt sign language because my granddaughter's deaf. And then he's like, oh, my daughter's deaf as well. And like you're like, oh fuck. And then the episode ends, and then episode 5 is essentially the culmination of the whole thing, which in my opinion was the weakest episode.
Yep.
Just because it was stupid how it ended, but what are you going to do? Essentially, it's like
rushed.
Yeah, it's like a Native American powwow, I think. Powwow it's called, where they all get in the shiny, noisy costumes and dance around with the drums and stuff, and all the baddies sort of rock up. And there's like 2 vans with like 15 people in the vans, and they're like, Biscuits is like, I've got these ones, and he's converted grandma's car into a monster truck, and then just drives over the top of it, just fucking flat out kills 15 people. And Kingpin's got grandma and the cousin, and held hostage, and
like in a stable or something.
Echo's got like this beautiful outfit that her grandma made for her, but when she goes to pick it up, she sees her mum there, and they have this beautiful sort of super emotional scene. Yep. Where they're like sign language and it's all quiet and crying and all that kind of stuff. And it was at that point I kind of went, fuck, she can act. And I'm like, what else has she been in? You know, Wikipedia went on there. Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Hawkeye was her first role ever.
Shit.
And she's fucking good. And there's like the tears and like you felt her emotion, and even through the sign language and stuff, it was fantastic. So, yeah, so she gets costume. She's there. She's ready to fight. On the outside, old mate who was at the building that blew up, he's got a fucking bazooka sitting on top of an RV, and he goes to shoot it, and one of the other guys goes, no, you don't. Pulls out a gun and shoots him, and he's like, and then it fires off and does like fireworks in the sky and stuff. But then like the big showdown comes, and you're expecting some fights, but then Echo does like this arm stretched out thing. You see all the women that have been in the little snippets at the start,
right.
And then kind of giving her the power, and then she does this little fucking symbol with her hands on Kingpin's head, and like puts shiny light into his head and makes him sort of have feelings again. and he like runs away.
To be fair, the way that it was done was actually really good.
It's good.
You were selling it so short
It's
on
good.
how it was done. You made
But
it seem like lights flashed and it was over.
I know, like, it looks impressive. It's just pretty piss poor kind of like, because you've had all this beautiful action and you've had all these great scenes, like the scene where I can't remember what episode it was, but she's young and she wants to get a hot dog, and the hot dog guy's like, "Fucking speak, girl, speak!" And the Kingpin's just sitting in a car and he's just getting pissed off, and then he just walks over and takes him down an alleyway and just fucking beats the living shit out of him, like blood dripping off his hands. And she comes running down. You see Kingpin get all worried and like, and she's like, "No," and fucking spits on him and kicks him. And they hold hands and walk away. Beautiful moment between father and daughter.
Yeah.
But yeah, she like puts her hands on him and the light shines and makes him sort of regret like killing his dad and stuff like that.
Yeah, so the idea is that it takes a snippet of back when is him beating on his mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like a scene of him being a kid. He's just
And the dad beating his mother up
yeah,
and stuff.
exactly. And you can hear it like bouncing off the other wall, and he's like getting super angry, emotional, and whatnot in that. So that whole thing was done very well.
It was done well. It was done well. I apologize. It was just it was a letdown for the rest of the series.
Yeah. So your initial description of it gave me like Wonder Woman 84 vibes.
No.
Not that bad. Like not really.
Action, lasso. Don't do it. Okay, I won't do it.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that bad. It was good, but I was hoping for like a nice big fight scene or like kind of stuff. It would have been really great, but it didn't happen. But what are you going to do? And then essentially it pretty much ends on the cliffhanger of Kingpin on his plane, and then the TV's on. It's like, our mayor candidate's a shit. Who's going to run for mayor? We really need someone who's got a fighting spirit and all this stuff. And like, it's essentially to lead into Daredevil, him becoming the mayor, which is, he is in the comics for most of it, isn't he? Kingpin?
Yeah.
Isn't there? And he's got like because I remember my memories of Kingpin are from the Spider-Man animated series.
So good.
Where he was like, he had like his big tower, the Kingpin Tower and shit. And, you know, it was just the giant fucking white suit pimp that just beat the living shit out of people.
Yep.
Even though it was a cartoon for kids. That was a great cartoon. That was my first experience of Spider-Verse. Like, they had all of it. They had the three robot spiders that sat on top of each other. Craven.
Yeah, they went through everything with that.
Yeah, because we've got the Craven movie coming out soon.
We do have the Craven movie coming out soon.
Have you seen that trailer?
Yes, unfortunately. Like, I've never been so hyped up and then just off a cliff so quickly. Like, when you hear Russell Crowe doing the accent.
No, he can't do accents, man.
But even then, like, I was like, they're doing the accent sick. Because I was worried that, they're just going to make Craven American somehow. And then they had started with the accent. I was like, fuck yes, all right, they're not fucking around. And then he did the accent, and then it was Aaron Taylor.
Aaron Taylor, yeah.
Yeah. Didn't do the accent. I was like, fucking hell. Just do the accent.
And what about Madam Web?
Oh, see, I was like, that's an odd choice for a movie.
Yep.
Why would you make that movie? Then I saw the trailer and went, I'm pumped for this.
I really am looking forward to it.
Like the idea of Spider-Man being the villain. Like, I know Spider-Man's not the villain, but
they make it look like it's Spider-Man, yeah.
Yeah, but he like the same power set, like, but he's not fighting Spider-Man, because that's another thing that gives everyone shits, right? When it's like, the Flash is fighting bad Flash, or Captain America's fighting bad Captain America. It's just like, fucking, can we?
I want to know how much we're going to see the costumes in it, like the other girls in the costumes, like all the Spider Women.
It'll be the last.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because the costume for Spider Girl, Spider Woman, is that the one with the black and white costume? Is she Spider Woman?
I don't know.
Because it's Spider Woman, Arana, who is now Spider Girl or something like that. I only know as Arana, and another one, the one with the afro from the Spider Verse shows.
It's all too recent for my knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah, but so essentially Echo, I really liked it. It's my personal favourite of the Marvel TV shows.
Yeah, right.
I loved Loki. I loved Loki season 2. Thought the ending was phenomenal, that show. But this one just felt right. Like, it felt done well. And I think that's because it doesn't include anything else. It was just a good story. A little bit of a letdown of an ending, but you know, Marvel don't have a great track record with landing endings, so you kind of expect that.
Except for Loki.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, every single show has to have some form of a light beam or light. So, you know, don't know why I didn't expect a light to appear in the episode. They always end with a fucking light beam, Marvel. They love their special effects and light beams and shit.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Got
Look,
a Skybeam.
I definitely agree with you. It was great show. It really interested to see where they take the spotlight, Marvel spotlight route and what they do.
Because that's what that Werewolf by Night was, wasn't it? That was Spotlight.
Well, no, I don't know if it was, because this was meant to be the first of the Marvel Spotlight shows.
Oh no, that was a special preview or whatever it was called. I think they called that.
But that was great.
Yeah, that had Man Thing. It was a Man Thing.
Yeah.
It's Man Thing in Marvel, isn't it? Yeah.
And funny you say Werewolf by Night, because I had a look to see where the Marvel Spotlight thing came from. Apparently they did an anthology back in like the 70s and 80s, and the idea behind it was introducing of characters or like concepts that hadn't been introduced before, and Werewolf by Night was one of them.
There you go.
It's actually where Ghost Rider, Submariner, Moon Knight, Spider-Woman, Captain Marvel. So apparently they were all like more or less introduced through this.
Because I know they had Amazing Fantasy, which is where Spider-Man came from, and that's where Rana, the new Spider-Woman, is, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. Speaking of comics, we want to know. We'll start with Hoff. What was the comic that started it all for you? Because you're a massive Nightwing fan, aren't you?
I am, yes.
Yeah.
But I think it was actually a Green Lantern.
What was a Green Lantern?
It was a Green Lantern. I think the first comic I bought was an X-Men, or it was like a Gambit and Cable, maybe team-up comic.
Mm-hmm.
And then, again, just use that as a reference to draw. And then, I just bought whatever I could. Because back then, there was no comic book stores. It was like...
the news agency.
Yeah, the news agents.
And you'd be lucky to find the ones that had direct edition written on it, which meant they're from America.
Yeah. So it was like literally whatever I could find at the news agents and different... Yeah, so I had like a whole bunch of like random comics. But then I think it was, Green Lantern. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And
Yep.
that was the one that hooked me in. I think that's why he's still my favourite to this day.
Fair enough.
What about you, Brock?
For me, I had to rack my brain to think about what I was actually reading or looking at
I
first.
did the same thing.
It was Turtles.
Turtles.
So
Ah,
I had to think back. I'm like, what on earth was I looking at?
like the black and white Turtles?
No, it was all colour.
colour?
It was all colour, and just going through the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's a fucking... the OG Turtles comics were fucking weird, man. There were some weird comics like aliens and shit, and it was out there, man.
Yeah.
Because I've read them, right? Because IDW did collections of them.
Look, honestly, I couldn't tell you what was in them from now. I'm going to go back and read some more of them. But I mean, I just remembered thumbing through the Turtle comics.
IDW have done collections of all the Turtles books.
I actually want to. I want to read The Last Ronin.
Apparently, it's fantastic.
I've heard it's brilliant, so I want to give that.
The first chapter in, I have the hardcover on my desk, so it's like it's there for when I have a few minutes to read. But it is.
I can't wait to sink my teeth into that.
So it's Raphael?
No,
it's not. It's a different turtle.
Yep.
Oh, well,
you find it too early. I would have liked to have gone on a little bit longer.
Yeah,
because Raphael was the Ronin for a fair while, wasn't he? Back in the day.
Back in the day in the comics he was, but in this he's actually the first to die.
Oh, there you go.
That's what you're following the turtle. Too late. It's been out for longer than a month.
Exactly.
So you're following. Do you want to know who the turtle is?
Nah, I want to find out.
I want to find out.
Yeah.
But I've heard it's good. I'll have to have a squeeze of it.
It's fucking really good.
If you want a really good read, I've been reading what's it called? All the Kids Are Dying or something. I think it's called. I can't remember what publisher does it, but essentially it's like the first arc is these kids see a monster out in the bush in the forest. And then they just all get fucking eaten. and they're like, people are like, only one of them survives, and they're all blaming him and stuff. And then this chick rocks up to town, and she's got these weird ass eyes, carries a little fucking teddy bear doll. And then she comes in and she puts like a bandana with like a fucking fangs on it and stuff, and just goes around and starts fucking slaughtering monsters and shit. And it turns out that only kids can see these monsters, but only if they believe in them. If they believe in them, they're real. And she's from what's called the House of Slaughter. And it's like a houses that are all around the world, and they specialize in killing these monsters.
Jesus.
and it's fucking brutal, man. It's fantastic. I think it's called Someone's Killing the Kids or something like that. It's really good.
Someone's killing the kids.
Yeah. I'll find it and I'll give it to you. It's actually, I think you might already have it. It's really, really good. I recommend it.
Yeah, right.
For me, the comic that started it all, I was the same thing. I had to think back. Like, I remember, same as you, like news agency, getting random comics. I think I had the Peter Porker comic. I remember having the Amalgamation comics. Back in the day, you remember them when Marvel and DC did the crossover and you had like Dark Claw, Superboy, all those things. I remember having Dark Claw. And I like used to have the X-Men trading cards. Like I've still got the 94, 95 sets. I've got 96 Spider-Man set.
I wish I kept my trading cards. I had most of like all the foilies. And
I've still got them all. They're in sleeves. They're in mint condition.
I had them all in sleeves, but I have no idea where they ended up.
But the comics...
Maybe your son found those ones.
The comics that got me into it, like that I actually started loving, were when I started just spending ridiculous amounts of money every week on comics, were Fathom and Witchblade. Love Fathom, which is by... it was originally by Top Cow, and then they left and did... created a comic company called Aspen Comics.
Oh, yeah.
And Fathom was their main one. Essentially, it's like an underworld world versus the human world. This chick's from both of them. The character Aspen is from both of them. It's a really, really good comic done by Michael Turner, who did a whole heap of Marvel stuff and all that. And he did that. And he also, I don't know if he created, but he was the first artist on Witchblade for the first few issues. And Witchblade, essentially, she gets like a magical amulet that gives her armor and she fights baddies, and then there's angels and Magdalena and the darkness and all that kind of stuff. And they were the first ones that really got me into comics. They were fucking fantastic things. Really loved them.
Yeah, right.
Anything else to do with comics? No? No. All right. Well, let's move on to, we'll get a couple, we've got a wrestler here, so we may as well have some wrestling talk. And the first bit of wrestling I thought we might as well bring up because it's the biggest piece of news in the wrestling world.
Vince.
Captain Vince McMahon. Have you heard about this?
No, what's he done?
He got rape charges against him.
Oh, there's a shot.
He's
Sex trafficking.
it's trafficking,
Jesus.
is it? He's essentially denying everything, but he's stood down from the company that owns WWE and all those other ones, and he's not on the board of directors anymore. So essentially, Triple H is now the big boss.
Sure.
That's how it should be anyway.
Yeah, but yeah, he's fully gone, which is
Reading, like, there's a whole bunch of screenshots you can find of the messages that he sent, and they're fucking disgusting. Like,
Yeah, right.
like he's always been a bit of a scum of a human being.
yeah, no one thought he was a nice dude, but it's like you didn't think that he was essentially
Doing this.
like shipping. Like, yeah, I think it was I'm not entirely sure. Like, it's all alleged anyway, but it was a girl that he was like just passing, essentially shipping out to members of the board and talent, and using like her sleeping with guys as like part of their contract negotiations and shit. It's also why Brock Lesnar wasn't in the Rumble last week, because he was mentioned as one of the guys.
Well, there you go.
So he got pulled because Bron Breakker apparently took his spot.
Okay.
This is all internet talk, so
Yep.
who knows what's actually true.
Yeah,
but
true.
apparently, because Bron Breakker's from NXT. And yeah, so he went in. He's a big, if you know who he is, he's Rick Steiner's kid, so he's a big human. So he just went in and did all the Brock spots.
There you go.
I have to say I didn't watch the Rumble, but I watched the highlights reel that WWE put up. The female Rumble was so much better than the guys Rumble.
Yeah.
And I love what's the dude that came out during the chicks one? He's like, "What's going on, man? Where are all the dudes?"
R-Truth.
Yeah.
Every time I see him, I still think Cade Quick, because when he came into WWE, like in the early 2000s, he was Cade Quick and he was with Road Dogg, and then he got sacked and went to TNA, became world champion, then came back as R-Truth, and he's probably been there for 15 years, but he'll always be Cade Quick to me.
Yep.
But yeah, he's fucking hilarious.
That was good. But yeah, the women's Rumble was fucking awesome. And then the TNA chick,
Yeah,
the
I
world
wrestled
champ,
her.
she was awesome. She's a beast, man.
Yep, Jordan Grace. Yeah, I wrestled her we went over for King of Trios.
Oh, yep.
and she was on a team with Petey Pump and Scott Steiner. So I got to wrestle Scott Steiner, which is fucking still
That's awesome.
unreal. But yeah, got to wrestle her. She is a weapon. And she just did a bodybuilding comp, so she went from being like a power lifter to a bodybuilder. And she's just
it shows it, man. Her arms and shoulders when she came out in that run were phenomenal.
Yep, absolute weapon.
Like Ray is big. She put Ray to shame. Like she was big.
Yep.
And you've obviously wrestled with Ray Ripley before. As well. Yeah, she's an Aussie girl.
Yep, she's from Adelaide, but she's wrestled in Newcastle a few times.
Yeah. I met her once as well. Yep. Lovely girl. Back when she had long blonde hair and was a little punk rocker.
Look at a little surfer girl.
Yep. It was funny. All right, so a couple of questions for you about your wrestling. So how did you get into it?
Watched it as a little kid, and then...
As we all did, yeah.
Yeah, so like Ric Flair.
When it was real.
Yeah. That was the thing that got me. It was like Ric Flair with his big robe and like, what is this? This is ridiculous. This is fantastic. I think I was like 5 at the time.
Yep.
But then like, because we live in Australia, you couldn't really get it anywhere.
Yeah, sure.
And then I think around the end of primary school, the start of high school, WWE Superstars started. So yeah, I'd stay up to midnight and watch that.
Yep.
So it's just like that little half-hour recap of what's going on, and then Foxtel came in, so we get Foxtel, and now I can watch it every week. And then we get the 2 shows, and I was like, this is fucking great. And then I was like, oh, I reckon I can do this. Never thinking that I was ever going to get the shot. And then a mate came to school one day with written on a piece of paper, like, I found a phone number for a wrestling school in Sydney. And I was like, I'm taking the piss? And he's like, no, legit. And I was like, all right, cool. Gave it a call, and turned out to be legit. So got a job, saved up, went down, paid for my course.
Yeah.
And then started training. I think I trained for seven. I had 7 training sessions before I got my first match, which was, looking back, the dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah, that's not much training.
No, because like now, like it'll take you twice a week, a year. If you're very good and you pick it up very quick, you can get into a match in about a year.
Wow.
7 training sessions, not even like 7 weeks. Like we trained once a week. I had 7 training sessions, and then someone pulled out of a show, and because I did pick it up very quick, like because I've played football my whole life, so like picking people up and putting them down wasn't foreign to me. Trying not to hurt them became the thing to learn. But I get thrown in the deep end. I don't think I did well, but it was in the middle of Bathurst in front of like 120 people. These have gone off also. So like I was just stoked to be in the ring, and then I just regularly got booked from then, and then I went overseas and trained overseas. And first training session, like I went over with a girl called Harley Wonderland. Yep. And in our first session, like I can hear Jesse, the trainer, who also was a big wrestler in Mexico in the 80s and was a ref for WWF in the 90s. He's on the phone going, "God, you got to see this girl. Like, she's amazing." Like, bang, she got booked half hour into this session. And then we're running through training, and then we started doing drop-down leapfrog drills. So you lay on your belly, then you have to get up and jump over a bloke. And I am not a tall dude, and I am white. So they didn't think I could leap over another human as well as I could, but I, at one point in my life, could grab a basketball ring, so I can jump. And then by the end of that session, he's like, "I've got matches lined up for you." So I was like, sick. So we were over there for 5 weeks. I think we wrestled every week. I got to wrestle Scorpio Sky, who, if you watch AEW, you would know who he is. Like, he was a TV champ and stuff there, but I think he was in TNA for a bit. Yep. But yeah, and I knew who he was because there was WXW at that point, which was on MTV. It was when everything fucking exploded, and there was piranha matches. Like, it was dumb as shit. But he was on that. So when I went over there, and the booker came up to me, Red, and he's like, "So sorry, man." And I thought he was going to tell me that my match has been cancelled, because I think the guy I was supposed to wrestle couldn't make it. Yep. And I'm thinking, oh, well, I didn't come over expecting bookings anyway. I just wanted to train. And he's like, the best I could find on such short notice was Scorpio Sky. And I'm like, Hold your shit together, man.
I suppose it'll have to do.
I guess that'll do.
Oh, God. All right, and who's your favourite wrestler?
Now?
Oh, it's in general.
Like I said, when I was a kid, like a little kid, Ric Flair.
Yeah.
And then as like a teenager, it was like Shawn Michaels, Triple H. But then also I had my favourites in WCW when they were separated. So Kevin Nash was my favourite there. Then as time went on, Eddie.
If people don't know who Kevin Nash is, it's the guy from the stripper movie.
Yeah. He's also Super Shredder from Turtles 2. And he's the Russian out of
The Punisher, yeah. And he actually got stabbed. Thomas Jane actually stabbed him with a knife. Yeah.
Shanked him. Now, probably Cody.
Yep.
Like the story of like who his dad was and who his brother was, and being in WWE and being a mid-carder and used as a mid-carder when obviously he was very talented.
Mm-hmm.
And then him betting on himself going, fuck this, I'll go become a superstar. And he did. And then watching his match with Roman last year,
Yep.
I was like, this is fucking perfect. And then he didn't win. I was like, that was your chance. Like, you're not going to have a better match than that. That was fucking beautiful. But I think they're going to run it back this year, so hopefully they can top that. But I don't know how they're going to top it. Like, did you watch WrestleMania last year?
I think I've seen highlights of it from memory.
It gets to the culmination of the match where like he hits one of his signatures, then he hits his brother's signature, then he finishes it off with the dusty bionic elbow. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm not crying, you're crying. But then he gets fucking speared twice and pinned. Like, okay, cool, man.
What about you, Brock? Who's your favourite?
My favourite?
Yeah.
Look, when I was growing up, I always loved the Kane and Undertaker and watching their feud. So that'd probably be my go-to for them ones.
Yeah, funny story. Kane, Glenn Jacobs is like a mayor of a city in Tennessee. But every time he puts out like a video on his socials, there's a guy who trolls him about shit he did when he was a wrestler. He's like, you can't get away with this. He's like the time you got away with burying your brother. Like shit like that. And it's like, fuck. And it's like screenshot after he's just trolling him hard.
I think mine's always going to be Shawn Michaels. I still remember going to Video Easy, getting the VHSs in the House 98 and the Rumble from 96 and 97. The Rumble where I think he won it the third time in a row.
Nah.
Or second time in a row, I think it would have been.
Second,
yeah, and like, because at the end, it's him and Diesel, who Kevin Nash, as you said, they're in the ring, and like Diesel's just like, and then he just turns around, fucking switching music's him over the thing, and then he gets back in the ring and like stand over the top of him like he's going to beat him, and then he's like, high five. And then also it goes into Degeneration, which was just the best thing about wrestling.
Yep.
And then you get the PG era. And now it's picking back up again, which I do like.
Yeah, because Triple H is back in charge.
Yeah, that PG era was bad. It just wasn't good. But yeah, I think, definitely Shawn Michaels. What's your favourite moment from WWE? I can tell you mine.
Is it for sure when Ray won the World Heavyweight Championship and then Eddie won it on the same night and they came out and had a big hug with the confetti? That was pretty good.
That's not my favourite moment.
Is yours when Val Venus got his penis chopped off by right to censor?
No, mine's watching Mankind be thrown off the Hell in a Cell by Undertaker, and then getting on a stretcher, being taken away, and then him getting up and going, nah, I'm finishing the match, getting back in, climbing up, fucking power bombed through, and then it's still not good enough, get the thumbtacks out, let's go again, and he's got his fucking tooth in his nose, and See, I watched that match when it happened and was like, that was fucking nuts. And then I watched it again probably like 5 years ago. Yep.
And then you forget that thing's in like the first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
They're in the mat, ding ding, fight, we're on top of the cage, Mankind's off the fucking
when they get up and you just watch the cage going tunk 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 as they're stepping on it, because I got Mankind's DVD and I was watching it, and it's like him and Undertaker and Jake the Snake talking about it, because Jake the Snake came out when he got put on the stretcher, and he's taking him out, and he's like, I thought he was dead, and he's like, I've come up to him, and I'm like, let's go, and he's like, have we finished the match? And he's like, no, and he's like, I've got to finish the match, man, and just pushes him away and gets up, and just like walks down, fucking just climbs up again, fucking, he's a nutcase, man. He talks, he goes, at the end of it, I walk back out and I'm getting stitched up and stuff, and Vince has walked out and gone, "Thank you for that, but don't ever fucking do that again."
I watched a clip of an interview today where they were talking, it's him and Stone Cold talking about if he likes pain, because Stone Cold said, like, when I knew you, it felt like you liked pain. And then his response was like, no, I needed the pain to remind me that I wasn't Mick Foley, like I was Cactus Jack. So it was like the trigger he needed to become the wrestler. He wasn't just a normal person. He needed something dumb.
Yeah.
That hurt so bad that he's like, all right, that's right, I'm this fucked up character. I was like,
Wow.
I love the Rumble that he came out as all three characters.
yeah, that's still.
He came out as Mankind, then Dude Love, then Cactus Jack.
Yeah.
Which is just phenomenal. Which is a great thing. What about you? You got any moments you loved?
Mine's the same as yours. Like, just seeing that and that whole thing occur, you're just like, oh my God. Like, yeah.
And then
Couldn't top
fucking Shane McMahon tried to do the same thing. Yes, it's not the same.
No.
It's just not the same.
No.
And I mean, most of us know this answer, but best era?
I would say late attitude into early aggression.
Yeah.
This aggression era.
Yeah, that's like Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, like that big
Like when
sort of era.
Lesnar came in and Orton came in, so it was like late.
It's like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, so you've still got all the attitude era guys and most of the characters, but then you get that new wave of Cena, Orton.
OG Cena was fucking bad.
Yeah.
That character was so bad. The rapper.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that was horrible. But Orton, man, I still remember when Orton came in, and I was watching him, and I'm like, I don't like him. But then it kind of, he grew and grew. Like, just he wasn't an entertaining character. He was just like, I'm just angry, and it wasn't entertaining. And then eventually, kind of as he started getting a bit more of kind of a bit of comedy about him and stuff like that, you're like, oh no, you're good now, because he's a phenomenal wrestler, phenomenal. But you just need that little bit extra on top of it just to make him work. And I like him now. He's great.
Oh, look, mine's the same as yours, like that late 90s, early 2000s. I think more so because that's when I was most watching it and sort of most following along. But yeah, I used to love to hate Randy Orton and whoever else he was up against. But I mean, the whole thing through that era, enjoyed it thoroughly.
Like in my mind, the Invasion era went for like years.
Which one was that?
When they bought WCW.
Oh, when they bought WCW, yeah.
And they started bringing guys over. In my head, as like, because I don't know, you're a kid.
Yeah.
It felt like that went for 2 years. I think it was like less than a year. And it was like over.
Because that was the Wolfpack, wasn't it? You had the Wolfpack with...
it was later. The NWO came in much later.
Oh, was that later, was it?
Yeah,
Because it was WCW versus NWO for a while there, wasn't it?
Yeah. But then when they bought the contracts out, they either had the choice to take a new contract or just sit at home and count their checks.
Yeah, right.
So Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Rey Mysterio, a few of the big names. I guess I'll just stay home and get paid. So then they came in later. So like when I think all that era was over, and then they brought in Ray against Chavo.
Yeah.
Still pops me to this day. I'll watch it every now and then. Just that initial like the fireworks where he popped out of the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck.
Just...
Yeah, can't do that now because his knees will explode. It won't be the fucking fireworks. That'll be cartilage going everywhere. But yeah, that's like that era, like with the fist through the fucking SmackDown set.
Oh, yeah.
So cheesy, but fucking so good.
And I love that SmackDown was The Rock.
Yeah.
That was his catchphrase. And they went, you know what? We're going to use that for a show. And so it's his show. He claims it as his. I still remember when he came out, like one of the first times he came back after he became big. And he came back and did the whole like, The Rock is home on SmackDown. And it's got that I'm coming home music underneath it. And you're like, yeah, good on you, The Rock. Even though everyone hates you now because you tried to scum Hawaii people out of their money. But yeah. All right, well, that's some good wrestling talk. We haven't talked about wrestling before.
No, we haven't.
And wrestling is nerdy as fuck. So it was good to talk about it.
It's 100% superheroes. It's good guys fighting bad guys in spandex.
Mm.
It is superheroes.
And as I said at the start, for those of you who haven't gone, go and give it a watch. Newcastle Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, give us another promote, mate.
So you can find us at newcastleprowrestling.com.au. We're on Instagram. I think we're on everything. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, or whatever it's called now. Our next show is at City Hall, March 8th.
And if you're not in Newcastle, you can watch it online.
You can watch it on, I think it's called Triller. I swear it looks like Thriller, but I think it's Triller. But it was Fight TV, so you can find us on there.
What if people want to try and become a wrestler?
If you want to become a wrestler, our next intake is in 10 weeks.
Oh,
I think it's June 15th. It's at our training school at Gateshead. We also put shows on there too. So on Bulls Garden Road, Gateshead. So down near Pickles Auctions.
Awesome. Yeah, so just head to the website, newcastlepro.com.au.
newcastleprowrestling.com.au.
Yep, and then you'll be able to find out all the information. They're on Facebook, all that kind of stuff. All right, and we'll have one last thing before we head for this episode. A guest versus host game. So to start off with, we're going to play a little game. This is the Blockbuster board game. It's part of it's called Head to Head. So essentially what's going to happen is I'm going to read out a prompt. So let's say it's this one, movies with boats. And what will happen is whoever says the first one, so you'll say Jaws, for example. I'll start the buzzer, and then Brock will have 15 seconds to say another one. And he says it, presses the buzzer, and it keeps going until someone can't guess one. Our general rules are sequel. It's all clumped into one. So Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, it's Spider-Man movie. I would say the different versions are different versions, obviously. So the Amazing Spider-Man and then the MCU one, stuff like that. Like Harry Potter, that's just all 7 of the movies. So essentially that's it. And we'll see who can win this first round, the guest or the host. All right. So I'll read this out. Whoever yells out the first answer, the timer will start, and the other person has 15 seconds. Once you press the buzzer, it resets it to 15 seconds. Okay. Here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You ready?
Have to be.
All right. Movies with snakes.
Snakes on a plane.
All right. Go for it, Brock. Ignore those buzzers.
Anaconda.
Indiana Jones.
It's over to Brock. 9 seconds. Oh, you can't think.
I hate being put on the spot.
No.
Oh.
First round goes to the guest. All right.
Not good on the spot.
This is best out of 3 for the head-to-head, and then we'll move on to our trivia game. Okay. All right, round 2. So, Brock, if you win this one, we go to a third round. If not, Hoffers wins the point for the main game. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. First answer, the clock will start. Movies where someone time travels.
Time Cop.
Back to the Future.
Terminator.
Avengers.
Time Machine.
The Tomorrow War.
Hot Tub Time Machine.
It's harder than you think, isn't it? Come on, you got to win it for the host here, Brock.
Oh, no.
No. The guest takes it. Hoffers won the first round in the head-to-head. All right. Congratulations there, sir. You've won that.
Thank you.
Let us move on to the trivia round. So our trivia round tonight, we are going to be doing DC trivia, just as I know our man Hoffy loves his DC.
So you're stitching me up.
You know DC as well, brother. You know DC as well. Okay. So we're going to start this off. Let's reset the buzzers here. All right. So first question. So I'll start reading the question. If you want to answer, if you buzz in before I finish the question, you have to answer it. If you get it wrong, I'll pass it over to the other person for a chance for them to claim the point. We have 10 questions. If someone obviously gets 6 of them right, they're going to win that round. If we have a tie, we're going to have one question which I will randomly get from ChatGPT. And if one of you get that right, that will be the decider. Okay, first question. Which hero possesses the power ring fueled by fear?
Sinestro.
Brock got that. Brock was first on the buzzer there.
Listen to me then.
Brock, do you know the answer to this one by any chance?
Is it Sinestro?
That is correct. Well done there. Hoff, you were 142 milliseconds behind him there on the buzzer.
I saw that. It just said come up buzz. So I was like, I'm in.
All right. Our next question. Who is the telepathic and telekinetic member of the Teen Titans? Hoff, you won that one.
Raven.
Raven is the correct answer. We're one apiece here, guys. All right, let's go into the third question. What is the superhero name of John Jones, the Brock?
Martian Manhunter.
This is correct. Martian Manhunter. Okay. Who is the artificial intelligence created by Batman to assist the Justice League?
OMAC.
Hoff? No, that is not correct. To assist the Justice League, often depicted as a floating satellite. Brock?
Oh, I'm not actually sure of this one.
5, 4, 3, 2.
No.
Brother Eye.
You went to the next. Brother Eye first, then the OMAX comes.
Okay. All right, so we have probably should be keeping track of this. One
Usually
apiece, 2 for Brock. So Brock is in the lead, 2-1. Okay, so we now come to our next question. I've reset the buzzers. What is the name of a mysterious figure who serves as the guardian of the green in the Swamp Things comic? Hoff?
Is it Man Thing?
No, that's not his name. That's what he gets called a lot, but that's actually not his name. Brock, do you know?
No.
The Parliament of Trees.
Okay. He's never going to get that.
Nope.
Okay. I mean, he probably is called Man Thing a lot, but according to the answer that I got off the internet, that's what it is. And if you can hear that in the background, it is raining. We apologise.
I was wondering what that was.
So, our next one. What is the name of the sentient, teleporting, and mischievous city in the DC universe typically associated with the dark...
Our buzzers are off.
Our buzzers are off? Oh, I've got to reset them.
Can you start the question again?
I can start the question again. What is the name of the sentient, teleporting, and mischievous house in the DC universe typically associated with the Justice League Dark? And we have mentioned this in this episode.
I know who lives there. I just don't know what it's called.
Anyone want to have a crack? 5, 4,
I was only reading this
3,
the other bloody night too.
2,
It's
1.
like the House of Mystics?
The House of Mystery. You're very close. Very close. It's John Constantine's hood.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the name of the intergalactic bounty hunter and anti-hero often portrayed? Brock.
Lobo?
Lobo is correct. Yes. That is 3-1 to Brock. Okay. Let's reset the buzzers. What is the name of the DC Comics crossover event where heroes and villains are pitted against each other in a one-on-one battle for survival, often resulting in the death of some main characters? Brock.
Crisis?
It is a crisis. Which crisis, though?
Crisis on Infinite Earths?
No. Hoff?
Infinite Crisis?
No. Identity Crisis. One of the 5 million different crises events. Okay. What is the title of the crossover event that focuses on the emotional spectrum and introduces different Lantern Corps, each fueled by a different emotion? Brock.
Blackest Night?
Blackest Night is correct. He's taking a runaway here, Hoff. I'm sorry, mate. Last question. In the final Crisis storyline, which character takes on the role of Batman in an alternate reality following the apparent death of Bruce Wayne?
Alfred.
Not the answer I have.
If it's not Alfred, then it would be Dick Grayson.
Would you like to... He got it wrong. Would you like to answer that one?
Is it Jason Todd?
Dick Grayson. Nightwing.
As soon as I said it, I'm like, whoop, I forgot I should have said that.
Okay, well, it looks like the hosts have won that round. So we're going to have to go to a little tiebreaker here. So let me open up GPT here. Chat GPT. And we are going to... what should our subject be here, guys? I'll let you guys decide what the subject's going to be.
We'll let the guests decide.
What theme are we going for? Comics?
You can go with comics. You can go with whatever you want, mate.
Let's go comic book villains.
Comic book villains. Okay. This is an easy one, but this is what it gave me. All right, let's see who buzzes in quick. Who is the clown-faced psychotic? Brock got that.
The Joker.
Hey! And that round goes to the host. I'm sorry, Hoff. You had a great start there.
Well done.
But the DC trivia just got to you at the end there. And, you know, sad for our host there. But congratulations to Brock for winning it for Frantic Nerdcast. That's pretty much all we've got. You guys want to mention anything else before we head?
No, I'm good for now. But I just want to say that look, thanks for coming along, Hoff, and being our first guest on Frantic Nerdcast. It was incredible to have you.
Absolutely my pleasure.